Hi, I'm Tony Northrup, and for the book Stunning Digital Photography, I'd like to show you my bird studio. Now, the bird studio is basically just a place where I lure songbirds in so I can take pictures of them at really close range. And this is the only way I've found to get really close to these small birds. I think when we think about bird photography, we kind of imagine somebody trekking through the woods and stalking birds and chasing them. And I spent the first couple of years of wildlife photography trying to do that, and it just didn't work out. As soon as a bird knows that you're chasing it, it kind of takes off. It's almost like dating in that way. A better way to do it is to bring the birds to you. So you'll see behind me I have a bird feeder, and that's the bait. And then I have a few different places for them to perch. I never take pictures of the birds on the bird feeder. That's not a good look. Instead, I set up places for them to land outside of the bird feeder. So they'll come in and they'll get some seed, but usually they rest in different spots. And in a second, I'll show you all the different places I've set up. Basically different little studios so I can get different looks. I have a big Canon 500mm lens here. It's f4, but you don't need anything like that. The beauty of this is that you're able to get really close. So you can get away with one of those 75 to 300mm telephoto lenses that you can get really inexpensively. If you're really good at it, you'll find that you're getting so close you can't even focus. And at that point, it's time to add an extension tube. Now, an extension tube is a spacer that goes between the camera body and the lens. So you can see here that I have a little extension tube that allows me to focus a little bit closer than the lens would normally be able to focus. Downside to an extension tube is it prevents you, while it's attached, from focusing on infinity. So you'll lose longer distance focusing. When I have this attached, I can focus a couple of feet closer. It's enough for me to get to my bird studio from my desk here. But I can't focus on the trees that are in the distance. So it allows me to extract that extra detail by getting even closer. Now let's step outside and take a look at the different spots I have set up for birds. This is my bird feeder. You'll see it's a tube style bird feeder. It's also squirrel proof. This just means that the bottom part falls down under their weight, preventing them from getting to the food. Birds don't weigh enough to pull this down so they can land here and still access the food. This is just a stick that I found in my yard. I buried it about a foot into the ground at the bottom so it's nice and steady. And when birds land here, I can take pictures that you would see in bird books. These are almost anatomical style pictures. You can see that I've stripped off every leaf and stray branch from this. So what I've presented here is almost a two-dimensional perch for them. Different types of birds like to land on thin branches or thicker branches. Some birds, especially nuthatches and woodpeckers, will prefer to land on the vertical side of it. So they have a variety of different surfaces they can land on. But the important thing is to strip off all the stray branches. You don't want anything projecting towards the camera because you're going to find birds hiding behind it all the time. Now you'll see a more natural environment here behind me. This is a crabapple tree that I planted, and it's been growing for about a year now. And birds land inside of it and on the edges of it. And because there are so many stray branches here, it's a little bit harder to shoot around the obstructions. However, a lot of different birds won't prefer this type of branch, and they will prefer some additional protection. Now, when this one grows crabapples, it's going to be a really beautiful environment. So this is going to be ready in a couple of years. I'm really planning ahead and actually designing a garden around the bird studio. One other thing, you'll see a stalk behind me here. Cardinals in particular like to land on that, and though it's a little bit farther away from my office, it creates just a really beautiful environment. So I hope you'll set up some sort of bird studio nearby wherever you happen to hang out. Having it near my office where I'm working and on Facebook and everything else has been key to it because I'm there all day. You can't go out and expect to spend 15 minutes doing something and get a great wildlife shot. You need to put hours and hours in. The more time you put in, the better your pictures are going to be. So it's worth it to make it as simple as possible for you to take pictures. Make it convenient, and I promise your pictures will get better. If you like this video, click subscribe up above and like down below, and I hope you'll like our Facebook page too. And of course, check out the book Stunning Digital Photography, which has more than 2 hours of videos just like this. If you have any questions about it, you can look me up on Facebook or send me an email, tony@northrup.org. Thanks.